Talk on WHOW.
Tuning into the baseball game, monitoring the incoming storm, catching your favorite talk show. These are just a few of the reasons more than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month. And did you know AM radio is the backbone of the emergency alert system? It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars.
Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop.
This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
News time is 8 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. Top of the morning from the newsroom of Regional Radio and DeWittDailyNews.com. I'm Seth Lawrence with this expanded local newscast brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. Your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Central Illinois FFA chapters are highlighting their programs during this National FFA Week on a live farm show. The Clinton FFA chapter told Regional Radio they will be hosting a Chicago FFA chapter in a unique opportunity to teach them about rural agriculture. Clinton FFA chapter vice president Conley Schick shared this opportunity with Regional Radio.
Another thing that we're super excited for coming up is we're actually having an FFA chapter from Chicago come down, and they're going to get to experience Central Illinois Ag. We're going to take them around to different farms and different FFA chapters in Central Illinois so they can see what it's like for kids that live around farmland every day and not in a big city. It's going to be really, really cool to teach them about the things that we do every day. I know they're going to come out to our farm, Schick Farms, and get to pet the cows and stuff. So, of course, we're super excited to show them the cows and all the farm animals.
The Clinton FFA chapter is very excited about the opportunity to share ag with a different part of the state. FFA chapter president Davis Howell says he's excited to learn about urban agriculture through their experience.
So in Chicagoland up there, they obviously do not have as vast of farmland as we do. A lot of their agriculture activities happen in greenhouses or in urban gardening plots, or even more into the agri-sciences and research lab on how to further move the agriculture industry here for Central Illinois on cash crop farms. They spend more time in the laboratory producing new seed, figuring out the most effective ways for us to apply fertilizer and to make a higher yield. So I think that's really something interesting that they're going to bring to the table, kind of the opposite side of agriculture that most people don't associate with agriculture, but it's still very much a part of agriculture.
Jolie Maharis from the Hayworth FFA chapter explains each FFA student keeps record books or SAEs on the noon farm show. She says those are kept through the year and can be used to advance a student throughout their FFA career.
It is a project that we picked based on something in the ag world, and we focus in on it and we learn more and get more interest and knowledge out of it. That's something we're interested in and pursue it throughout our high school career and maybe even after. It is something that we can teach the younger kids about and just get to know more and tell more people about what we are learning about. Mine is ag service, where I work at an auction company throughout the year.
According to Emma Quinton with the Hayworth FFA chapter, her SAE is training her donkeys to interact with humans and ultimately hopes to see them become kid-friendly.
I've always heard about FFA. And having older people going through our school, especially when we had some older students have an SAE where they would come to elementary school and teach us a little bit about agriculture. So since then, I've always wanted to be an FFA. So as soon as I got in high school, that was a really big interest for me. My SAE is my donkeys, and I work to train them and get them used to human. They're just pets at our house right now, but I would like to get them used to kids and have it so that kids can see them and play with them a little bit and have fun.
The celebrations do not end today as dress-up days and after-school events last until Friday for several FFA chapters. The Clinton YMCA is not only shifting the flag football season to a new time of the year, but it will also have a new location to play its games. On the WHOW Morning Show Monday, Clinton Y Executive Director Rennie Kluver told Regional Radio the program moving to the spring offers the Y the chance to bring in the high school football program to mentor and teach kids.
I'm excited this year. This is the first year that we're testing out youth flag football in the spring. And a big reason for that is the collaboration that we're going to have with the Clinton High School Maroons football team, Coach Bass, players, assistant coaches. I feel like in order to help their program, we want to run something in flag football that's going to help teach the fundamentals, technique. You don't need pads and a helmet on to do that, and allow the JFL kids that usually play JFL in the fall and wouldn't play our flag football because they're playing JFL chance to try flag football and work with those coaches, work with the high school football players, and help build the high school football program. And so we're excited about it. It's going to start in April, the first week of April, and it's going to run through the first full week of May. It won't run into Mother's Day.
A couple of additional changes, including games being played on Sundays to hopefully allow more kids the chance to play and not having conflicting activities. They also are excited to announce they will be playing games at Prairie Passage Green Space, the green space to the north of the Warner Library at the old junior high property.
And we're trying something else again this year. We're going to have practices. I think it's going to be Thursday evenings. And then games are going to be Sunday afternoons. We felt that we've never done that before. Saturdays are always so busy for people. And Sunday afternoons, it's after church, people that are going to church. More of a chance for kids to not miss games because of a big event. And so we're excited about doing that. And Coach Bass, Melinda, our youth sports director, and I have met with Coach Bass and kind of gone through the details. And they're still putting together the fine tune as far as how's it going to look? Age groups. It will go through fifth grade, so kindergarten through fifth grade. We are going to have it. This is another exciting. Usually we're at Woodlawn Park. We are going to be at Prairie Passage, which is that green space just north of the library. It used to be the old junior high, if people remember where that's at. Right there on Center Street as you're heading out of town. It's green space. And so it's nice that the Warner Foundation is going to allow us to do that. We have to petition or try to get the city to help us move some bleachers over there, so we've got some of that.
Sports programming has taken a big step forward so far this year. Kluver believes having someone stable in that youth and adult programming position is a big part of that. He credits Melinda Akers for pursuing the vision of the Y and taking up the mantle left by David Torbert.
Yeah, people have asked me, someone had said that to me too not too long ago, just about, gosh, it seems like you got a lot going on. And when I look back, there's never a time anymore where I can say, oh, we can breathe this month. It's a routine and we're used to it, but one thing is always leading into another. As soon as you start a program, as soon as we started youth basketball and it's got another couple weeks to go. As soon as we start that, now we're looking and scheduling and anticipating the next program, which is going to be 10 to 12 weeks away. And so that's constantly what you're doing. And as long as you get in that system, it's not as stressful. But we've got something going on all the time, 100%. Because when I was the youth sports director in the interim, trying to find someone, I could do it just enough to keep it above water and to offer the class, but to go beyond the vision, the mission that we had with our youth programming, it obviously took someone that needed to be there. And so Melinda has been filling in there and doing a great job. She's a great leader. And so that helps too when she's working with staff and other volunteer coaches, and just she's very intelligent in scheduling and she's learning the sports. That's what's nice, because she's not just an all around knows every sport thing, could go out and ref basketball, but I bet you she could ref basketball if she needed to now.
Follow the latest with the Y and its programs for both youth and adults by following them on Facebook. You can also visit Clinton, COMMYMCA.org. Call 217-935-8307 or stop in at 417 South Alexander Street. The city of Lincoln is getting its latest budget together in preparation for the new fiscal year on May 1. Lincoln Mayor Tracy Welch indicates the Budgets Committee of the City Council is sitting down with department heads in Lincoln to prepare the new budget.
Yeah, so the Budget Committee is about ready to get going again in discussions, and so this is an opportunity for the treasurer and the Budget Committee to sit down with all the department heads and figure out what their needs for their departments are for the coming year. It could be that they need new vehicles to replace those that are older, some new equipment, materials that they may need, especially at streets and alleys. It's a good time to stock up on that. We talk about the salary increases for the non-union employees. So just a lot of discussion, capital improvement projects we want to tackle. We talked about road targets this week too. So, just a lot of good stuff.
In the last few years in Lincoln, employee salaries have become a hot topic. This is because of the labor shortage and trying to offer a competitive salary to not just find workers, but retain them.
Yeah, we really haven't got into any public discussions about it this year, so I can really lean on what happened last year. And you're absolutely right. For the last couple of years, we know that the salaries for some of our employees is behind the curve. It's not comparable to what similar roles in other municipalities are receiving. There's a lot of factors that go into that: population of the community, public utilities that may be offered, things of that nature. But we've tried to make some pretty good strides in getting them to where they need to be to keep up with similar roles in other places, the cost of living, things of that nature.
According to the mayor, most of those discussions were held last year, but they're looking at other employee salaries that weren't addressed for this year.
Last year, we had a pretty tough discussion about that, and I think we got them closer. This year, I think we're going to be in good shape on this, but we've got some things to work out because, we want to make sure that we're able to hire people. They come to us and they say, yeah, that's a good place to work, and we have a great benefit package and a lot of flexibility in those roles. But also, employee retention is huge. And if an employee leaves, we have to start all over with training them and things of that nature. And so we don't want to see that happen. And we'd rather keep the individuals on staff that are doing a phenomenal job for the city. Mm-hmm. A lot of those clerical staff members do a lot to keep the city moving, and it goes unnoticed.
Mayor Welch indicates the biggest emphasis when it comes to budgeting is roads. He explains community members want nice streets, and unfortunately there isn't the funding to always address all the city's roads in a given year.
Yeah, the big ones are roads. I mean, we can never put enough money into roads, and we did have a discussion in council about that the other night. The proposed targets for the upcoming year were presented. And if you've been in Lincoln, we have a stretch of road. It's Tremont Street, and it's heavily used. It's between Logan and Union, and it's in need of attention. But it's going to be $1 million project. And so when our budget's $1 million, and that's going to be $1 million, we have to have conversations about give and take. So that's what we did the other night. We talked about some other targets, other funding sources. I'm not sure if we're going to get Tremont done this year. Still trying to work on that. But Tremont is now a little tricky because one of the funding sources we have through Rebuild Illinois, it requires that if there's any homes on that street that are on the historic register, we've got to go through an analysis process. And, there happens to be one house on that street that is. So that would delay the project for like 18 months. So we're trying to figure out other ways to utilize that money, but get the work done quicker. We're also trying to tackle other things. We've got 5th Street Road that this is the project that's been going on for decades. Well, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. We think next year is the year we'll be putting shovels in the ground. And so there's some drainage issues that we have to address out there, and we're going to get them done this year. That's another project that's been proposed. And then we've got a long-term control plan out at the wastewater treatment plant. They've got things that they want to get done out there. And there's just always miscellaneous projects going on to improve the community.
The upcoming budget, again, will be passed in April to take effect on May 1st. News time is 22 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. We've got much more coming your way next on the WHOW Morning Show.
Take advantage of leap year. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick here in Clinton. Yes, we have an extra day this month. So come see our inventory of Chevrolet Trailblazers, Blazers, and the all-new Chevy Trax. It's a sharp, redesigned 5-passenger and affordable front-wheel drive. We also have a larger 7-passenger Traverse and a good selection of Tahoes. Use your extra day wise. Shop us online to see all our inventory. BaumChevyBuick.com, right from the start.
News time is 23 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Tuesday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. DevelopmentForHire.com's recent study uncovered by the end of 2024, Illinois may be among the top 5 hotspots for remote workers nationwide. The research, taking various factors into account, indicates Illinois consistently ranks in the top 15 with an overall average across the criteria in the top 4. Michael Johnson is one of the researchers behind the rankings.
Yeah, so the way that we came up with the criteria was a lot of our team, and so we kind of put our heads together on what are the factors that matter most to us that make the places that we live and the environments that we work in great for remote work. And then we went out and kind of what we settled on were 6 main areas. First is cost of living. Second is internet speed. Next is recreation and nightlife, outdoor beauty, community engagement, and percentage of remote employees. And so what we then did was we found studies that ranked each of these criteria across the United States, each state, and then we aggregated the scores of all those studies together to then create a overall top score for the best states for remote work. Illinois performed incredibly well and finished in the top 4.
Despite its lower ranking in outdoor beauty, Illinois, particularly Mattoon, is a work-from-home sweet spot with its attractive move-in incentives. With remote working set to double between 23 and 25, Illinois is well-positioned to attract the new working wave, according to the Develop for Hire research. A former state senator and one-time candidate for governor will remain in jail after a guilty plea made last week in a federal corruption trial. Republican Sam McCann has been ordered to remain in custody prior to a June sentencing. Before the hearing, McCann posted a video to Instagram detailing the alleged plot the FBI wanted him to lie about.
They wanted me to say that I had joined Madigan in some unholy alliance and that we were going to rig an election. When I told them that I wouldn't do that wasn't the case. I had no idea what they were talking about. They told me that they would come after me. They would keep searching and searching and searching until they found something.
McCann's lawyers say his client does not remember making the video while driving to court last week. He pled guilty to 9 federal counts. 8 of those could carry up to 20 years in prison. He will be sentenced in June. National FFA Week is underway, and Mindy Bunzelmeyer is the executive director of the Illinois FFA Center.
This week, what I love about this week is it is a celebration of FFA at the local level, state level, and national level. But what I really love the most is all of the friends outside of the jacket. You know, maybe they wore the jacket, or maybe they're parents of the jacket, or maybe they just love seeing the jacket. They celebrate with us, right? And so what's fun is those that were alumni and once upon a time wore the jacket. You'll see those challenges out there where somebody's, in their 50s and they're trying to put their jacket back on, and some it fits and some it does not. And so I just love seeing everybody who's not currently wearing the jacket now celebrating with FFA members. And it's just it's just such an overwhelming opportunity to see just all the great things that local chapters are doing within their communities, but then the support that's out there for it too. And like you said, I live it 365 days out of the year. I'm always in my fields about how great FFA is, but now you get to see all those friends outside of it celebrating with us.
National FFA Week runs through Saturday. With tax filing season underway, the Better Business Bureau leaders want the public to avoid tax scams. Often, tax scams involve a phone call in which scammers pretend to be a part of the Internal Revenue Service. The goal is to get the public to act quickly and to submit a payment over the phone. Don O'Brien is a scam investigator with the BBB.
We're getting into tax season, And the impersonation scams are something that you're going to want to be aware of. They're going to say that they're internal revenue, and they may say that you owe back taxes, and they pressure you into paying by some type of gift card to somewhere, a Google Play card or an Apple card. Or, again, they may ask you to send them, transfer money through one of those electronic form of payments we just talked about. So they're going to, act like they're official and tell you they're agent so-and-so and badge number so-and-so, and it's all malarkey. It's all false. First thing you need to know is the IRS is never going to call you. They're never going to call you. They're never going to text you. They're never going to email you. Blake, if the IRS ever has a problem with you, and this has only happened once in my life, thankfully, and I hope it never happens again, is they're going to get let's say they have to audit you. They're going to get a hold of you through the good old U.S. postal system.
According to the Federal Trade Commission data, U.S. adults lost $10 billion to scams in 2023, with over $4 billion related to tax scams. File a complaint about a preposterous IRS agent at bbb.org. The governor is preparing his combined State of the State and budget address for Wednesday, and Republicans are urging Governor Pritzker to eliminate wasteful spending. House Minority Leader Tony McCumbee says the budget should address the moral priority of the state of spending on Illinois citizens.
Really talking about it being what are the moral priorities, and that's Illinois citizens. We saw last year in the budget alone, $1.2 billion in healthcare costs, Cadillac healthcare costs for non-citizens, and that certainly is not a priority of the taxpayers that I'm hearing from as the leader. So we have to talk about what is important and a priority to Illinois citizens, and I think that's number one.
Governor Pritzker recently pledged an additional $182 million to address the continued care of migrants and asylum seekers. News brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. We stream to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance. News anytime is at DeWittDailyNews.com. Network News is now.
SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. Defying international pressure to back down, Israel pursuing its drive to crush Hamas in Gaza. With the state's Republican primary just 4 days away, former President Trump and Nikki Haley focusing their campaign efforts today on South Carolina. President Biden heading back to California, where he'll be spending several days attending big money fundraising events. Much of California remains under flash flood watches or warnings as another rain-laden atmospheric rivers cross the state. The 80th Annual National Religious Broadcasters Association convention opening today in Nashville. Former President Trump will be addressing the delegates on Thursday. Capital One wants to buy rival credit card company Discover for $35 billion. Regulatory approval would be required. Dow futures down 131 points. More details at srnnews.com.
With SRN Sports, I'm Michael Harrington. Let's start with NASCAR. William Byron wins the rain-delayed season opener last night.
It had been 40 years to the day since Hendrick Motorsports ran its first race as a company at Daytona International Speedway, and 10 years since anyone on the team had been to victory lane in the Daytona 500. However, William Byron changed that on Monday, edging out his teammate Alex Bowman for the win.
It still hasn't sunk in yet, so I feel like it's just kind of a blur, and I feel like there's just so many things that have to go your way to win a race like this, and it's special. I mean, this is the biggest race.
As cars spun through the front stretch grass with the white flag in the air, NASCAR let the caution flag fly, freezing the field with Byron out front. Jerry Jordan, Daytona Beach, Florida.
Austin Hill won the Xfinity Series race at Daytona for the third consecutive year in Monday's rain-rescheduled season opener, driving the number 21 Chevrolet. This is SRN Sports. NBA news, the Brooklyn Nets have fired Jacques Vaughn after ending a disappointing first half of the season with a 50-point loss in Boston in their final game before the All-Star break. About a year after giving Vaughn a contract extension, the Nets changed course Monday, said an interim coach would be named soon. Nets are 21-33, 11th place in the Eastern Conference. In the National Hockey League yesterday, it was the Senators over the Lightning by a 4-2 score, Carolina 6, Blackhawks 3. It was the Oilers downing Arizona 6-3. Vegas 4, Sharks nothing. Calgary beat Winnipeg by a 6-3 score. It was the Red Wings over the Kraken 4-3 in overtime, while Minnesota beat Vancouver in a high-scoring affair 10-7. Bruins 4, Stars 3. In a shootout, Toronto beat St. Louis by a 4-2 score. Anaheim 4, and the Buffalo Sabres 3. AP Top 25 College Hoop yesterday. Number 2, Houston over number 6, Iowa State. This is SRN Sports.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. In a game heard on WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com, Raiden Colbert scored 12 of his game-high 18 points in the third quarter, and Monticello overcame a slow night from its leading scorer to eliminate Meridian 67-55 in Class 2A regional quarterfinal action from the Seavers Center in Monticello Monday night. Trey Welter, the Sages' leading scorer, was limited to just 2 points on 6 shots. The senior was 2 for 2 at the foul line and 0 for 6 from the floor. He did have 5 assists and 3 rebounds. The Hawks hung around in the first half, staying within 2 to 5 points, but Monticello gradually pulled away in the second half, and it was a total team effort. In addition to Colbert's 18, Tyler Blythe scored 13 points. Ike Young added 12 points and played lockdown defense on Meridian's leading scorer, Sebastian Hill, limiting the senior to 14 points. Gatsby Grant had 10 for Monticello. Colton Denny scored 18 to lead Meridian. Monticello limited the Hawks to 38% shooting and used 12 Meridian turnovers to score 15 points. The Sages had 22 points in the paint and 12 points off 12 offensive rebounds. Monticello out-rebounded Meridian 34-25. The Hawks had 10 points on 12 offensive rebounds. Monticello scored 10 points in transition, and its bench contributed 18 points. The Sages made 10 of 12 from 3 and shot 49% for the game, including 13 for 17 at the foul line. Meridian ends its season 17-14 overall. Monticello goes to 15-14 and will take on Tolono Unity Wednesday in a regional semifinal. The Sages took down the state-ranked Rockets last week in Monticello, holding on for a 62-57 win after having a 40-17 halftime lead. Game time is 6 o'clock from the Seavers Center in Monticello. Hear the action on 95.9 FM WEZC and online at DeWittDailyNews.com. Class 2A regional quarterfinal action from Monday. Bloomington Central Catholic throttled Olympia 82-55. Fithy and Oakwood downed Arthur Lovington Atwood Hammond 65-43. Sullivan edged Westville 55-54. It was Warrensburg Latham over Pana 70-43. Watseka topped PBL 67-45. Class 1A regional quarterfinal action from Monday. It was Arcola edging Beecher City 53-51. Argenta Orienta won by forfeit over D-Land Weldon. Bethany Okaw Valley throttled Central A&M 63-31. Champaign St. Thomas More rolled Urbana Uni 68-25. Decatur St. Teresa topped Cerro Gordo 69-45. And it was Mount Pulaski over Blue Ridge 62-50. Elsewhere in 1A, GCMS downed Normal Calvary Christian Academy 71-35. Hayworth absolutely rolled Kankakee Grace Christian Academy 96-55. Leroy topped Ridgeview 43-33. Lexington throttled Tri-Point 95-20. Illini Central beat Havana 61-41. Menden Unity topped Hartsburg Emden 77-43. Tuscola down Broadlands Heritage 86-27. In Class 3A regional quarterfinal action from Monday, Decatur Eisenhower topped Bloomington 50-23. William Byron snapped Hendrick Motorsports' 9-race Daytona 500 losing streak with a win Monday in the rain-delayed Great American Race. Byron crossed under the white flag, denotating the final lap at the exact moment a crash broke out behind him. The caution flag was thrown, and he wasn't quite sure if he was the official winner as he circled Daytona one final time. The last Hendrick driver to win the Daytona 500 was Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 2014. The 26-year-old from Charlotte is the 6th different driver to win the 500 for Rick Hendrick, the winningest team owner in NASCAR history, who made his way to victory lane on the actual 40th anniversary of his team's first Cup win. The fourth and final caution of the race began when Hendrick driver Alex Bowman hit Byron from behind. It caused Byron to sideswipe Brad Keselowski and trigger a 23-car crash that caused a red flag that lasted more than 15 minutes. There were 4 laps remaining on the final restart, and Byron was in second in the number 24 Chevrolet. He and Ross Chastain of Trackhouse Racing pushed back and forth for the lead. It was Byron out front as a crash broke out behind him just as he'd crossed under the white flag, marking the final lap of the race. Byron was followed by teammate Bowman in a 1-2 sweep for Chevrolet and Hendrick. Christopher Bell in a Toyota for Joe Gibbs Racing finished third and was followed by Chevys from Corey LaJoie of Spire Motorsports and A.J. Allmendinger of Colleague Racing. Bubba Wallace was 6th in a Toyota for 2311 Racing, followed by John Hunter Nemechek in another Toyota for Legacy Motor Club. Chase Briscoe was 8th in a Ford for Stewart Haas Racing, followed by Legacy driver Eric Jones and SHR teammate Noah Gregson. The race 1 day later than scheduled because of persistent rain all weekend in Daytona. The Monday was supposed to open with the rescheduled second-tier Xfinity race, then lead into the 500, but it was still raining Monday morning. NASCAR reordered the events and made the Xfinity race the closer. Austin Matthews scored his NHL-leading 49th goal of the season and added an assist, sparking the Toronto Maple Leafs to a 4-2 victory over the St. Louis Blues on Monday. Nice scored, and William Nylander had shorthanded goals for the Maple Leafs. Bobby McCann added an empty netter. Mitchell Marner registered 2 assists. Brandon Saad and Pavel Buchnevich scored for St. Louis. Joel Hofer stopped 25 shots. Toronto won its 4th in a row and swept the 2-game series between the teams. The Blues have lost 3 of their last 4. They will host the Islanders on Thursday. Martin Necas and Sebastian Aho each had a goal and an assist as the Carolina Hurricanes held on to beat the Chicago Blackhawks 6-3 Monday night. Michael Bunting, Jesperi Kentanimi, Brent Burns, and Jordan Martinook also scored for the Hurricanes, who have won 3 straight and 8 of 10. Connor Bedard had a goal and 2 assists. Nick Foligno and Tyler Johnson scored for the Blackhawks, who lost their 21st straight on the road. Chicago has not won away from home since beating Tampa on November the 9th. Peter Mrazek stopped 36 shots against his former team. The Hurricanes built a 4-0 lead midway through the second period. Martin wasn't tested often in the first period, facing just 5 shots, but the Blackhawks had 5-on-3 power play for 1 minute and 41 seconds. Bedard flashed the skill that made him the top pick in last year's NHL draft, trying to pull the last-place Blackhawks back into the game. Foligno scored on a spinning backhander off an assist from Bedard to make it 4-1 with 4:37 left in the second. Bedard, in his 3rd game back since a broken jaw sidelined him for more than a month, made it 5-2 on a power play goal from the right circle at 7 minutes. Bedard set up Johnson for a one-timer in front to cut Carolina's lead to 5-3 at 9:08. The Chicago rookie has 2 goals and 4 assists in his 3 games back from injury. The Blackhawks will host Philly on Wednesday. Get sports anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.